here's the movie where sleep teams up with the villain. Every other slasher has a physical solution. Michael Myers, leave town. Pamela Voorhees, call the police immediately because she is literally just a woman with trauma and a knife. But Freddy Krueger? Yeah, this one is different. Because Freddy weaponizes the one thing your body eventually forces you to do, sleep. Which means this is not a survival situation. This is a countdown. And the worst part? The movie quietly tells you the winning strategy almost immediately. Nobody notices it until everybody is already dead. Freddy is the hardest slasher we've faced so far, because he's not hunting people in the real world. He hunts you inside your own subconscious. That changes everything, because normal survival logic stops working. You cannot barricade your dreams, you cannot outrun unconsciousness, and you definitely cannot fistfight REM sleep.
So basically the battlefield is my own brain?
Correct. Which is honestly not ideal, considering most horror characters already lose fights in normal buildings. Freddy's entire strategy is built around exhaustion. He scares you. You avoid sleep. Your body weakens. Your judgment collapses. Then eventually your brain forces you into microsleep, whether you want to or not. And real-world sleep science makes this situation even worse. After 24 hours awake, your brain functions like you're legally drunk. After 48 hours, microsleeps begin. Tiny involuntary sleep bursts, eyes open, brain offline. And after 72 hours, hallucinations, paranoia, cognitive collapse. At that point, you genuinely cannot tell whether Freddy is real or if your brain is manufacturing him itself, which means your actual winning end before the 48-hour mark. After that, the battlefield stops being stable. The first massive mistake. Tina describing her dream. Tina's death is where the entire town fails. Not just the teenagers, the adults too, because the parents already know who Freddy is. They know exactly what happened, and instead of warning their children about the dream murderer connected to their neighborhood, they collectively decide to say absolutely nothing. Group project partner hiding critical information ends the kids enter the situation with zero rules, and horror movies become dramatically less survivable when nobody understands the mechanics. Look at Tina carefully. She already had repeated nightmares. Same man, same glove, same fear pattern. A modern person immediately recognizes this as a shared threat anomaly, especially after hearing Nancy describe the exact same figure. If multiple people share the same nightmare, that is no longer a nightmare. The viewer advantage. This is where modern awareness completely changes the movie. In 1984, the characters have no internet, no Reddit, no true crime culture, no sleep science awareness, no shared database of, hey, maybe supernatural entities are bad. Today, the second two teenagers describe the exact same burned man with knife fingers. Somebody is opening a group chat immediately. I'm not sleeping until we figure out why the dream guy has a consistent outfit. And this is important because Freddy has one gigantic weakness. He only exists in dreams. No sleep, no Freddy, which means survival becomes a resource management problem, not safety. The 4-phase survival plan: intel, delay, trap, deny. This movie actually gives you a near-perfect survival framework. If the characters had organized themselves properly, Freddy probably loses. Phase 1. Intel, Nancy confronting her mother. Step 1 is forcing the adults to tell the truth. No vague answers. No, it was a long time ago. No alcoholism-based emotional dodging. You need who Freddy was, how he died, who he targets, and most importantly, the dream rules. Because the second Nancy learns physical objects can cross dream boundaries, the entire fight change ops being untouchable. Phase 2. Delay. This is the temporary survival phase. And the key word is temporary. You are not trying to stay awake forever. That is impossible. You are trying to stay awake long enough to prepare controlled sleep conditions. Huge difference. Modern version, you would use rotating watch schedules, bright lighting, cold environments, REM suppression medication, possibly prazosin for nightmare reduction, possibly modafinil for extended wakefulness.
So basically Freddy loses to pharmaceutical optimization?
He loses to organize innately this town does not have. And most importantly, nobody sleeps alone, ever. Every single death in this movie happens because the victim enters sleep isolated. Tina, Rod, Glenn, all alone, no observer, no wake protocol, no extraction support. This is catastrophic planning. Part 5, Glenn falling asleep. Glenn's death is the biggest survival failure in the entire movie because Nancy actually had the correct plan. Stay awake, monitor the sleeper, wake them during contact, pull Freddy into reality. Simple. Not easy, but correct. And Glenn's one job was literally just staying awake. That's it. You had one job. Instead, he falls asleep watching television, which means Freddy now controls both sides of the operation simultaneously. And honestly, this is why real survival systems never rely on one exhausted teenager functioning perfectly after 48 hours awake. You need rotations, backup alarms, multiple watchers, redundancy. A survival plan with one point of failure is eventually just a delayed death sentence. Now to part 6, the nested dream theory. Nancy setting traps. Now here's where things get weird. One of the biggest fan theories says the entire final act might still be a dream. And honestly, there's evidence. Nancy's mother suddenly becomes calm and supportive. Fog starts appearing inside the house, and the traps work with almost cartoon, which is suspicious because realistically, a sleep-deprived 16-year-old building combat traps at 3 a.m. probably creates a self-inflicted emergency room visit, not a tactical defense system.
Wait, so she might have dreamed herself winning?
Yes, which is deeply concerning for morale. But whether the ending is real or dream logic, the important part is this: Freddy can be pulled into reality. And when that happens, he bleeds, he burns, he panics. That means he is not invincible, just protected by the battlefield. The real solution was said earlier, Glenn discussing Balinese dream concept, an R-test part of the entire movie. Glenn casually explains a concept from Balinese dream traditions. If you face a nightmare, you turn your back on it, you deny it your fear, and it loses power. That line sounds like random conversation filler. It is not. It is literally the solution to the entire movie. Nancy eventually wins by emotionally rejecting Freddy completely. I take back every you. And Freddy vanishes. Fear is the fuel. That is the actual survival mechanic. Not weapons, not traps, not running. Fear withdrawal. The real villain of the movie. Freddy is not even the only threat here. The parents are unbelievably dangerous. They hide critical information, dismiss the victims, drug Nancy, lock her inside the house. Marge literally turns the home into a kill box, which means the movie's actual theme is this: the adults created the monster, then left the children alone with it. So, can you realistically survive Freddy? Maybe, but only if you understand the rules early. You need information, reliable people, controlled sleep, lucid Yuli, the ability to stop being afraid of the thing hunting you. Because every other slasher kills your body first. Freddy kills your mind first. And once your own brain stops feeling safe, the movie has already started winning. Also, if your entire friend group starts describing the same burned man in their dreams, yeah, nobody is going to school tomorrow.